Well, welcome back to the Wedding Insider. It's been a few months since we, put a new episode out because we have had a very busy wedding season. It has been insane. We have been gone every weekend since what, April?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And finally, July 4th, we got a weekend off. And then this week, we are back at it in Louisville and then around French Lick, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
2 in a row. All of our teams are working, but we have 2 in a row. And whew, it's going to be a hard one.
Yeah.
So, we came on here today and we have a new topic for you guys. And we're going to talk about how do you find a great wedding vendor, like a perfect wedding vendor, right?
For you.
For you. Not for everyone, for you.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of times couples will go online and look for things. What do you think couples most look for in a wedding vendor? Like when they're looking for them, what do you think attracts them the most?
Budget.
Budget?
Mm-hmm.
So pricing, photos and videos and things on social media, all those things that can be kind of pretend at times.
Especially in the age of AI. Yeah.
The age of AI, yeah. Definitely. So when you're talking to these to wedding vendors and things, and living in the world that we are, it's kind of a dog eat dog right now, isn't it? A little bit.
A little bit.
Like
a little bit.
So
a lot of competition.
A lot of competition. What do you think sets some vendors? Like as a coordinator, because like I'm in the DJ world, and in the DJ world, I'm constantly looking for new trends and songs and all of those things that go into my world. But as a coordinator, and you have crystal clear coordination, and you got Paxton out here working weddings as well. And sometimes Paxton doesn't just work with our team; she works with other people. Mm-hmm. So what do you think is something from a coordinator perspective that people should be looking for when they're trying to hire? Like, what are some, I guess, green flags?
Green flag. Okay. Well, communication is number one. If you are reaching out to vendors and they are not within a timely manner getting back to you, I guess that's a red flag. So, you've got to be able to communicate with people. Obviously, communication is not instantaneous always, but it should be easy to communicate with your vendors, because that is the only way that your relationship works. And then we all have different personalities. So you have to find that person who matches, which goes back to the communication part. If you don't have communication, you're not going to know if that person is a match for your specific personality. And I think that if you are, especially for your coordinator, someone who knows how to stay calm when things feel out of sorts, and they know when to hype you up at the right time as well. So
you used a word one time, and I'm the DJ. I'm a teacher by trade, but I'm a math and science guy. And you said poised. Someone who can really just, when chaos is erupting, they can go, all right, everything's going to be fine.
Let's refocus. Let's find a solution.
Well, I think a lot of times, too, that in the wedding world, we see in the groups, a bride or a groom or a plant, someone will post, they're looking for a list of vendors. And it's like a plethora of information gets sent their way, and they don't know how to weed it out.
Right. No, it's too much.
And
I have a hard time weeding it out.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I have a hard time remembering which ones that I've replied to and which ones that I've posted on or said, hey, this is what we provide. But one of the things that I think is missing, especially in the DJ world, there are some apps out there right now that companies are using, and it's no fault in it, but there's no personal connection with the client. So like when people call to book with us or reach out to book with us, I always ask for a connection time. Like I want to connect with you, and I want to talk to you, see if I'm a good fit.
You can tell a lot about a person through a phone call.
Yes.
And just how they conversate
yes,
and how that situation goes. Because if you are trying to talk to someone and they can't even carry on a simple phone conversation, but yet they're supposed to MC your event, that might be a red flag.
Or in the coordinating world, they have to be able to communicate with people that they've never worked with before.
Correct.
So I think it's important, like with this topic, to say that you're not just looking for the perfect fit for each group. You're also looking for a good fit collectively.
Yeah.
Because your wedding vendor team, it's a team. And a lot of times, it's almost like going to the park and having a pickup game, and everyone that's at the park you don't know.
Yeah. Well, you were kind of talking about that day job situation. You know, as a speech therapist, I'm very heavy on the communication part of our business because I know how important that communication is to making the day flow. Because when you have miscommunications with your vendors, that's when clients feel like they have not been given what they either wanted or what they felt like they agreed upon. So the communication part of it is very important in order to make sure you're fulfilling their expectations for the day.
Yeah. Well, it's like you want to make sure that the left hand knows what the right hand's doing.
For sure.
And, you know, we've been in situations where we've seen that happen, and it's very stressful for the couple. It's stressful for the vendor team.
Yes.
You know, here's the thing, you're putting together personalities, and we all know from, you know, just being adults that and working, you know, in the workplace and things, there are times when personalities clash.
For sure.
However, if the goal of the day is for the couple to have the perfect day, then you set all of that aside. You know, I posted a video not that long ago about vendor blacklists.
Yeah.
And how there are vendors out there, planners and coordinators and even venues that have these huge blacklists of vendors that they will not work with. And
I don't have anyone I won't work with. Now, there may be people I don't care to work with, but that's just
that's normal.
Like that's normal everyday human interaction. But for my couple, I'll work with anybody that's willing to work with a team. I mean, obviously you can only work with people that are willing to work with you, but as far as making it work together, but I don't have anybody I won't work with.
No.
I mean, even if I don't care for them.
Well, I look at it like this. It's not their day. But also, I mean, of course, obviously, there are some vendors that are blacklisted in our area and other places because they are scam artists.
Well, I was going to say, now, if you have a situation where, I know we have some venue friends that own venues, and they have had to say, well, I can't bring this person back because they did things that were highly unprofessional.
Yes.
And I understand that as in those situations where you have to say, this was almost things if we talked about it, you wouldn't believe happened. And you'd be like, there's no way that somebody did that. But they did. I understand in those situations you have to say, we can't have that person back here. Like that's a little bit different.
Well, some of those come to a legality too.
Correct.
There's legal
liabilities and things like that. But if you're not working with someone because, I just don't like them, that's different.
Well, it's childish. I'm a professional, and but I also think too, like when you're putting that vendor list together, that one of the questions you need to ask your vendors when you hire them is, how do you work with others?
Yeah.
Because if, for example, we see it on social media and things, if you have a wedding planner or a coordinator who says, I watched a DJ the other day, and he was very specific about this. He put it in football terms, and me being a football coach and things, I kind of understand what he was saying. Your wedding planner or coordinator is your coach, right? Their job is to tell you the plays to run But what we are seeing is a heavy trend of vendors who don't stay in their lane.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the vetting process comes in handy. Mm-hmm. Because as a coordinator, your job is to make sure that the day runs smoothly, not to make sure that each vendor has everything they need to do their job.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, you need to be able to assist them if they,
Correct.
Hey, can you help me out with this? Do you know where this is? That kind of stuff, but not,
I'm not hand-holding anybody.
You're not hand-holding.
Because we're all professionals and we're all there to do a job.
Exactly. Yeah. And so when you have, or for example, we've heard stories of where, the DJ should just stand behind the booth and hit play.
I mean, if that's
not what we're paid to do.
If that's what you're looking for, there's vendors out there that do that, and that is one thing you need to have that conversation. Going back to vetting your vendors, you have that conversation up front during your sales call with a client. Is if a client just want them to stand there and push play and don't MC and don't talk and don't entertain the crowd, then you say, this is not what I'm looking for. And I mean, at that point, you might as well just probably rent some stuff and do it yourself. But
there are DJs out there that are budget DJs that's all they don't want to be on the mic. They want to stand behind the booth. They want to play music all night, and that's all they want to do. And there's one for everybody. For sure.
And there's some great DJs, and some of them are typically club DJs that have transitioned over into the wedding world because they're earning more money earning money that way. But that's okay if that's what you're looking for and that's what you're good with, then absolutely. But if you're looking for something more and you have very specific things that you want, those are conversations you have with that vendor when you, just like a photographer, like if you are looking for someone who shoots a certain style or in a certain way, or maybe somebody who you like. If I'm with a photographer, it needs to be somebody I'm comfortable with, because being in front of the camera for most people is not comfortable. Like, I do not like it, and even doing these things make me uncomfortable. But if I have that right person who I can make a connection with because our personalities jive, that's going to make me feel much more comfortable in front of the camera, so that they can get what I'm wanting from them. So, all of these things play a huge part when you're picking that vendor. That it boils down to, do we jive? Do we have a connection?
And if we don't, can we at least throughout the day?
Yeah.
And I think that brings us to the main topic of today's podcast, which is emotional intelligence. And one of the things that I feel like, because of our full-time jobs and working in the school systems and working with kids and meeting with families, we have a skill set of being able to, as a DJ, read the room. Know when it's, so like from the emceeing perspective, within 30 minutes of seeing the crowd, the age ranges, the way that me and the bridal party have interacted earlier on, I know right away how sarcastic I can be, what jokes that I can tell, how interactive.
It goes into code switching.
Yes.
And that's part
so
of it. So
like when I do some weddings, I'm able to step out, and like if I have a couple that are very introverted, and we have those conversations in our meetings.
We do.
If they're very introverted, I know that anytime that we put the spotlight on them, they are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So sometimes, not all day, but sometimes it's then my job as the MC to get the attention on me
and off of them
for the moment.
Yeah. So they have a break.
And if you lack that, we've watched weddings, fall apart because other vendors lacking that ability to read the room.
Yeah.
And just like with you, Crystal does this amazing thing where if we know ahead of time that there is someone in the wedding party, in the family, or whatever that could make the day stressful
For the bride or groom,
for the bride or groom, Crystal makes it her goal from the moment she arrives to make them her best friend.
Because I always say it's going to be a little easier later on when you and I have had a connection throughout the day, that person and I, when I have to look at them and say, this is not what we're going to do right now. I need you to go do something. Or no, we don't really want to do that. Or, whatever. It makes a huge difference because now I have a relationship with that person. And so they take it better. Whereas if I'm just this lady walking up and going, no, we're not going to do that. Then now I've created conflict where I don't want conflict.
Well, we talk about that. Like when we show up to the wedding, our job is to not escalate anything. We're
trained in de-escalation.
We de-escalate. And, we've had situations where photographers have overstepped. They haven't stayed in their lane and they've tried to create drama in the wedding day. We've had, family members who decided that was the day they were going to basically create some type of drama to get the attention on them. We've seen that all.
Yeah.
But one of the things that repeatedly, if you go into our reviews and the way people talk about is, that's one thing they don't worry about with us, is that we're going to show up with our couple's best interest at heart and read the room, understand dynamics. That's the other thing. Like when I was talking earlier about the apps and things that some DJ companies use to help plan the reception time, sometimes those DJs, they look at that information the week before. They've only met with you once, and they just take that and they show up at your wedding. Well, guess what? Just by doing that, I've taken the personal touch out. So I don't know who you are.
Well, and we have a lot of really personal conversations in our planning meetings for weddings. And even if you're not a coordinator DJ combo like we are, where we get a little more in depth, as a DJ and you're talking about dances and things like that, you kind of get a feel, because there are times when brides will say, cut that short. We don't want to dance the whole time. Or if there's a strained family dynamic, sometimes we can pick up on that and we can buffer that. We get to be the buffer person instead of expecting the family members to do that. Yes. And so sometimes I tell people we have to ask difficult questions in planning meetings. And I always tell them, I'm not prying. I need to know, especially when you have blended families and things like that. We just need to know the dynamic so that we don't have anybody that feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable. We don't want anybody put in a situation where they feel stressed or strained, especially the bride and groom, but also for their family members. So when you have those personal conversations, back to communication, then you can figure that stuff out, and then you don't have to worry about it on the day of.
Well, I think with all of that, when you meet with a vendor, first of all, I highly recommend not booking anyone through an online source.
Yeah.
Have a conversation with the vendor. Like, don't just go, like we have, we don't have any way to book us online without talking to us first, because I don't want to shoot you a price on something and then find out after you've paid a retainer that, that is going to cost this much more because you have a 7-hour reception instead of a 5-hour reception
or a ceremony in a different spot.
Yes. So we're all about having that conversation first. And during that conversation, if you are, when you meet with that vendor, ask them questions like, have you ever done a wedding where something wasn't as planned? What did you do? Like, we've had weddings here recently where everything was going to be outside for ceremony, and then here comes a storm, and we had to flip immediately. Really, with your day of coordination package, that's not even something that we're required to do, but we do it because we want to make sure everything runs smoothly.
Yes.
Then there's questions, for instance, look at their reviews, ask them questions about how they work with other vendors.
One, is that person that you're talking to the person who's actually showing up
Yes.
to your wedding? I know we have encountered quite a bit lately, especially photography companies.
Yes.
Who
they're editing companies is what they are.
They're basically editing companies. So when you hire them, you're not hiring them as your photographer. They're getting freelance photographers that work out on their own, and they basically contract them to shoot the wedding. But then the editing is all done by the editing company, which will maybe give you the photos that you're looking for, but there's
no personal touch.
Sometimes you are paired with someone who you don't jive with. Like we know we had that situation.
Yes.
We had a couple who was paired with a photographer, and it just didn't jive. It just did not connect. And so it made things a little more difficult. And I don't feel like there was any communication, I don't think, prior to the wedding with that actual photographer. So then there was lots of confusion the day of about what was happening when and where and how and the expectations. And so those are not things that you want to happen on your wedding day. You want to know that everything is clearly planned out and you want it to go as smooth as possible. So
yes.
That goes back to those communications. So even if you hire an editing company, not saying there's anything wrong with that, because I've seen some beautiful photos come out of those things. You let them know when you hire or you book them, I would like to know now who's going to be shooting my wedding. I would like to communicate with that person before I sign my contract. Just so you know that you and that person have that connection.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. Like, always meet with the vendor.
Yes.
I don't care if it's and here's the other thing. And when you meet with that vendor, especially venues and planners, and understand that there is a difference between a planner and a coordinator. There's a lot of confusion here in the industry. First of all, a venue coordinator is not technically a full wedding coordinator.
Correct. They're coordinating events.
They're basically a venue director.
Correct. They're dealing with things of the venue.
Yes. That's so right. if you call us and you say, I already have a coordinator, and I say, is it from through the venue, and you say yes, I'm going to need that person to confirm that they have
Some vendors do have coordinators.
Yes.
But most, they are there just to coordinate venue
logistics.
That's it. Yeah.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is, if you meet with a venue and they say you can only book these vendors, the number one question you want to ask before you sign a contract is, do these vendors pay you to be on this list? Now, understand there's a difference between an all-inclusive venue where they have picked specific vendors that they pay to be in an all-inclusive package.
Because it just works.
It just basically the bride and groom walk in and they say, this is what the package we want. You fill in the blanks.
And in those cases, typically, your vendors, they have vetted those vendors.
Yes.
And that team works really well together.
So you have that, but if your venue or wedding planner or whatever, if they have a laundry list of people that they refuse to work with, I guarantee you, as a bride or as a couple, they are the problem. I mean, I'm just being like, I guarantee you that it's kind of like that old saying, if you think no one likes you,
well, and
maybe
I'm big on, I'm not going to talk bad about other vendors. If you ask me about a vendor and maybe it's one that I would not recommend, I will change the subject. I will say, well, I don't really know much about that. And then I'm going to move you on to the vendors that I would recommend.
Yes. Now there are at times there have been people that have asked us for a specific vendor, and it's been one of those things like a legal issue or something like that, and we'll tell you they're a known scammer.
Yeah,
right?
that's different.
That's
if I
different.
think somebody's going to scam you of your money, I would tell you that.
Yes,
I'm not going to do that.
To simply, like I said, if you're looking to them, if it's a paid list, that to me is not a green flag. That's a red flag. Yeah. Because most, in my opinion, again, this is a DJ Squatch opinion. Good quality vendors don't have to pay venues to get booked, right? Like they are going to get booked with or without that venue. And then if like
well, I mean, I even kind of worry about a venue that
yeah, I'm even worried about a venue
that charges for such a thing.
Yeah. So, but I think that's the ticket is when you're talking to your vendors, when you're trying to hire these people, you need to find out how they work with other people. Like that's the number one.
But I mean, anybody's going to say, well, but I mean, if you look at the reviews, most,
yes,
I mean, obviously, if it's a new company, that's going to be a little harder to get.
But if you've got somebody that's been doing weddings for 4 or 5 years and they've only got 1 or 2 or 3 reviews online or on Google or whatever, something tells me, because here's the thing, most clients don't leave bad reviews.
No.
They don't.
And I mean, some clients just won't leave a review. Some people don't like to do reviews, and that's fine. But typically, if you've done a really good job for someone, they are more than happy to leave you a review. So, I mean...
But I think that, again, goes back to the emotional intelligence side of things. So, like we said, reading the room, you're really good about, trying to be proactive throughout the day instead of reactive. Yeah. Seeing something. I was listening to a guy talk earlier today, and he was saying that, as a vendor in the wedding industry, you have to have a servant mentality.
Absolutely.
And you have to be able to look at something and go, I see a problem coming, and instead of waiting for it to arrive, I'm going to deal with that now. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very important.
I don't think that I see myself the way a lot of planner coordinators see themselves. They see themselves as, this is my show and I'm in charge. And I see myself as, what do I say all the time? I'm a glorified gopher.
You're a glorified gopher.
I'm a glorified gopher, and I'm there to literally do anything that needs to be done. Mm-hmm. And that may mean being on my hands and knees cleaning up something that needs to be cleaned up on a dance floor or in the kitchen or whatever the case may be.
Sewing a bridesmaid into her dress.
My biggest, goal of every wedding is that people don't even know I'm there. Like, I don't want people to see me. I don't want people to know I'm even there. Except the bridal party. Now, bridal party, I tell them all the time, I'm in your face constantly. I'm constantly where, you're turning around and there I am again. Mm-hmm. But guests, I prefer they don't ever really see me. We had an incident, two weddings ago. The bride was kind of turning and she had a very heavy veil. Mm-hmm. And she was coming down steps, ascending down some steps, and her veil stuck.
Yeah, there was a doorway she had to come through.
There was a doorway she had to come through, and her veil stuck. And she was like, I'm stuck. And I went into full panic mode because I was like, I have to climb these stairs in front of all these people and go get this. And I don't want people to see me.
At that point, you had no choice.
At that point, I had no choice. And I was basically in the wedding at that point. But once I got her down the steps, then I, again, went and hid somewhere. But I always tell people, they'll say, are you going to be here tomorrow, like when we do rehearsal? And I'm like, yep, hiding right here, behind this wall. So I don't
I can't hide.
You can't. I don't want people looking at me. I don't want people knowing I'm there unless they need something from me. And then hopefully I just appear was it the butler on Mr. Deeds? He just shows up when he's actually needy. Sneaky. I like to be sneaky. So.
Well, and I think with that comes this idea that, you as the coordinator, your job is to intercept any issues before they happen. There have been times where we've handled things and our couples never knew that happened.
That's
not the goal. One. They had no idea that we intercepted something that could have made her, could be a make or break moment for their day. Yeah. And then you have, from the DJ perspective, I'm very much until party time, until it's time for me to do reception and run that flow, I'm kind of your right hand person at that point. Because here's the thing: if your DJ is showing up and setting their equipment up and standing in a corner and they're not interacting with you and they're not trying to, go the extra mile, then you don't have that servant mentality.
Yeah.
And I always feel like, I've chased peacocks out of barns. I've helped you flip venues in the rain.
Yeah.
We've had I've had to act as a bouncer at a wedding before, because people got out of control and there was no security, nothing. So I didn't hurt anybody, but
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't take long for them to realize that I was done, But I've carried fans for the couple because it was hot outside, and what am I doing? I'm just sitting inside. Um, Once my setup is ready, I'm ready to roll.
Yeah.
And I think
which we shoot content as well.
we do. But I feel like it's, like I was saying earlier, your coordinator is the coach, your DJ is the quarterback. The quarterback has to be the on-field leader. Mm-hmm. I have to make sure before I go, if you tell me, hey, it's time for first dance, and our photographers aren't ready, and I go ahead and do first dance, now I've caused them not to be able to do their job.
Right.
So everything.
But that's my job to make sure everybody's ready.
It is, but I've worked some weddings without you.
Yeah.
And there are some coordinators out there that, when we talked
when it's 6:15, it's time to roll.
Well, we talked to somebody one time that wanted to be, they wanted to come onto our team, and we were excited about it. And we said, well, we always tell our couples that our timelines are like water; they're fluid. Mm-hmm. And if they're done with family photos 20 minutes early and want to go ahead and eat, and the caterer's ready, we go ahead and eat. And they were like, no, if it says 7 o'clock, that's when we eat. And I said, that's too rigid for what our clients look for from us.
Yeah.
And it's not that again, we check caterer. Hey, they're ready to go. Can we go ahead and serve food?
First thing I do, I walk in and say, hey, we're about 20 minutes early. Yes. Is there any way to have that ready, or do you still need the full time? And then
and if they do, then
we'll figure something out. But if not, I mean, most of the time my caterers are like,
but that's
give me 10 minutes and we'll roll.
I think
awesome.
This all boils down to your vendors need to be able to work well with others.
Yeah.
You need to vet them heavily online. We all are aware of the AI situation in marketing right now. Yeah. You should be able to tell if somebody's using AI.
Yes, now, making a flyer is one thing. I know that still just riles people up, but
making a flyer, they're like, oh, well, you're not taking the time to do it. You're a business owner. You're an entrepreneur. And the people that are complaining about you making the flyer aren't entrepreneurs. They're not business owners. That's not what we're
talking about with AI, is falsifying
your
work. Product and your work.
Yeah. So, like, for me, anything that we post, wedding scenes, party scenes, content-wise, it is all filmed by me. It's edited by me. Or I
started doing it.
Yeah, you started doing it too.
So you can tell which ones are mine and not very good.
But we have seen a slew, especially in our market, of people using AI to even show themselves dressed formally. And you can tell it's AI, and the clients need to be aware that is, or using Google Images if they get online to show their product, and it's not their work.
Yeah.
And I think that when it all comes down, I'd also look at their post. If your vendors are constantly talking about what other vendors in their area do, but never show any evidence of what they provide, you have to start wondering, are they a right fit? Because that negativity just breeds more negativity, and it's just a whole thing. And so you have emotional intelligence, servant mindset, and then just good etiquette when it comes to moral etiquette. Professionalism. Yeah. If they don't have a contract, you don't book them.
Don't book them.
And a text message is not a contract.
It is not a contract. Don't let anybody tell you that. It will not hold up the court.
No, it will not.
It could be too easily edited and it
And
will
let's just
not,
take this one step forward. There is a vendor out there for everybody, for every
Absolutely.
budget, for every budget.
Absolutely.
But you can't look the new one, the newest wedding that's big in the news. You can't look at Taylor and Travis Kelce's wedding and go, I want this, but I only have $5,000. That's not a realistic dream. And, we see a lot of things where.
I would love to know the budget on their wedding.
Yeah.
Just
you know what? It
now.
probably didn't cost them a dime.
Well, I mean, you're probably right.
Because they were like, oh, we get to do their wedding.
It costs someone.
It costs someone.
It has value. I'm just curious.
And then the other thing is when you're looking for vendors, keep in mind that weddings do cost more.
Absolutely.
It has nothing to do with because it has wedding attached to.
Nobody's price gouging.
Gouging you.
Well, I'm not saying nobody. Okay. Some people might be price gouging.
Yeah. Well,
but most of your vendors are within similar range price.
Yes.
Are not price gouging.
They're saying to you, I get one shot to make this work.
Right.
And if.
Well, I know you've said multiple times, if I ruin your birthday party, you got another one next year.
Yeah.
If I ruin your wedding, I got one chance.
Yeah.
I've got
I'm
one
probably going to
chance
be in court
to get it right. So the liability is higher. So therefore, I have to work a little bit harder on that. So yeah, it's going to cost a little more.
Yes. And if you do contact the vendor and they say, well, it's this amount of money and it's out of your price range, don't go on social media and complain about that vendor and their price, because that just means you weren't their client.
Right.
And because you're not their client doesn't make them wrong.
Yeah. I mean, we're not the vendor for everybody.
No, we are not.
We're not. And that's okay.
I mean, we've had local couples here in our area that didn't want a party time. They didn't want all the big lights and craziness. They just wanted to get married, have a little reception, and move on. That is not what we're designed for. Will we do one like that?
Yeah,
yes.
But you're not getting the bang for your buck at that point.
Yes.
We are beyond what service you require.
Yes.
But that's again why you vet your vendors.
So again, we're glad to be back. We will have more coming to you guys soon. Just keep in mind, emotional intelligence is key to your wedding vendor search success. Mm-hmm. Make sure you have a personal conversation with that vendor. Make sure that vendor that you are hiring is the one that's going to be at your wedding.
Yes. And
make sure that they have good reviews and look at their marketing. Make sure that they're not using someone else's work, especially photographers. That is a big thing in our industry right now. Photographers stealing other photographers' work and trying to pass it off as their portfolio.
Yes, we have some photographer friends that's happened to.
Anyway, thanks for listening and letting us share with you, and we'll see you next time on The Wedding Insider.